Coming up in 3, 2. Arizona Baseball this weekend against Oklahoma State back in Big 12 action. It's a 6 o'clock first pitch here tonight at High Corbett Field. Let's talk some Arizona Wildcats baseball. Pleased to be joined by the hitting coach for your Wildcats, Toby DeMello. And Toby, I believe this is your third season or second season here with the Wildcats?
We came over with Chip.
Outstanding. To this opportunity, Chip Hale here at this university.
Yeah, I mean it's been awesome. I think just anywhere you go, you're always trying to learn and get better, and really just remember why you do this, right? You're trying to get the players better and help them chase their dreams, and just trying to learn every day from everyone. And I think you're continually getting better, and hopefully I'm a different coach than I am now, than when I started. So, yeah, just trying to get better every day.
How do you think that is? How do you think you are different from year one to now from what you've learned?
Yeah, I think, coming in after Jay and their staff, you want to kind of establish what you think is important from the offensive perspective. And so I think kind of, they obviously were really successful before we got here. So we wanted to kind of we didn't want to change all this stuff and then, not get guys to buy into what you're doing because they obviously had success. But you also need to come in and kind of put your stamp on stuff. And so I felt like we needed to slug a little more with the group that we had specifically. And I think we've done that since we've been here. Typically, we've tried to hit some doubles and triples. It's not the best park to hit home runs in, but really making slug a little bit more of a priority. And just it is an offensive park, right? There's hits to be had. Just it's not necessarily a home run park. So being tough with two strikes, but really putting a premium on hitting the ball hard with good ball flight.
Well, obviously you mentioned doubles and triples, and you guys are leading the nation in triples. What does that say kind of about the philosophy and the way that the guys are picking it up?
Yeah, one's definitely our park, just the gaps, obviously. And two, I think this is if it holds, this will be our third time in 4 years we've been top 10 in the country in average exit velocity. So just and not that we try to overswing, but we want to be on the barrel as much as we can, and I think that says a lot about what we're trying to do.
You mentioned average exit velocity, which is maybe an analytical term that a lot of people don't understand. How do you guys view that, and where you want that to be for this club?
Yeah, so I mean, any ball put in play has a velocity, right? Just like any pitch thrown, and so it takes the average of every ball put in play, and I think we're number 2 or 3 in the country coming into this week. We led the country in 23. We were like 7 or 8 in 22, and last year we weren't as high. But this year, again, we're top 5. And with that, we don't talk about overswinging. It's not like we're trying to take huge swings. So, if we can hit it clean as much as we can, I think that's a big thing.
Toby DeMello joining us, hitting coach for your Arizona Wildcats. Getting back to the triples, is there one guy that you're surprised has multiple triples this season on this roster?
Caulfield, he can run a little bit. I'm trying to think. Garen's got multiple. I know Mason's got multiple. I think does Summerhill still lead the country? I know he was leading the country.
He's got 6, yeah.
Who else has multiple?
Let's see. Well, Matias has 2.
He can run.
Easton has 2.
He can run.
Maddox has 2.
Maddox can sneaky
the rest of the guys you might expect to be big-time guys. How about Walton? Is Walton considered to be a species?
I thought he'd have more, he's got some homers here, though. Yeah. We got to get some more triples there, I guess.
A veteran guy in Aaron Walton that you guys were able to get. What do you like about what he's had?
Yeah, he's been awesome. Not just in the lineup, just in the locker room. Just a great dude. Super hard worker. He's one of the better guys in the clubhouse. He's just sometimes in the portal you don't know what you're getting, right? You've never coached him, and he's been awesome. Super good teammate. Super coachable. Super hard worker. He's awesome.
Arizona Wildcats hitting coach Toby DeMello joining us. You mentioned adapting to what you guys had when you first got here with Jay's group. Is it easier now that these are mostly all your guys now that that this staff is recruited?
Yeah, I just think them longer, right? Like we're starting to get to those classes where we've known them since they were, juniors, some sophomores in high school, and next year we're gonna have some guys coming in that we've known since they were freshmen, sophomores, and so I think the relationship is already kind of established when they get here a little bit. Where when we came in, I didn't know I knew Daniel Susak. outside of Dan, I really didn't know anyone. So a lot of it was just getting to know these guys and understand what makes them tick a little bit. And because hitting, that's half the battle, right? The mental game, and just getting guys to, they're going to feel different every day, and they might be dealing with stuff off the field. And so just getting to know them and understand what their personality is. So I think it's probably less of that now, where it was like, now this year it's kind of just the freshmen where you're like really getting to know them, where that was the whole team, right? And so I think that part's been a little bit easier, just establishing the relationships. That's always been big for me. I want guys to trust me, and I want to trust them. So yeah, it's been easier in that sense. It's just kind of one class at a time now, rather than trying to get to know the whole team.
This is, this is an offense right now that is dealing with not having Brendan Summerhill in the middle of it. How would you describe what this offense misses when he's not in there?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about at the time maybe one of the best hitters in college baseball. Obviously with injury, I don't know if he'll get there now, but would imagine been a Golden Spikes semifinalist and maybe potentially finalist in that capacity. So yeah, you're missing out on one of the best hitters in college baseball. I just think his at bats consistently are really, really good, and he doesn't leave the zone. He makes a lot of contact, and so anytime you miss a guy like that out of the lineup, you're going to miss a lot. But we've tried to really flip it as a positive. Some guys are getting some at bats that we might not have thought would get this many, and so hopefully down the stretch it gives us a little more depth than we thought we would even have.
Toby DeMello joining us. He is the hitting coach for your Arizona Wildcats. U of A, Oklahoma State opening up a 3-game series here tonight. First pitch coming up just a little bit after 6. You'll hear it right here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Adonis Guzman having a heck of a season at the plate. What have you liked about his progression from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think it's really been just his work off the field, to be honest with you. It's not that he wasn't a worker last year, but I think he really started to understand what it takes to be really good, because it's not just showing up at practice and doing the work when we're mandated to do the work. It's taking care of your body, especially being a catcher, right? You got to take care of your body. You got to get an ice bath. You got to eat right. You got to get sleep. And I think he's taken all those things serious and done a really good job. I mean, now he's one of the first guys here every day. He's got his routine down. I mean, very consistent. I think he lacked some consistency with his preparation last year, and he's been super consistent this year, and I think the results are just a byproduct of that consistency.
Is that just an age thing, maybe, getting better with the consistency, or just kind of finding where he needs to be mentally?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all those things. I think it's seeing some other guys around him who have a chance to play this game for a long time and see how they go about their work. I think it speaks to our culture and the expectations here of, it's like you got to do extra work here. That's a non-negotiable, and that's not what I mandate. That's what our players mandate.
Right.
It's we're going to be good because we work at it. You don't just show up and be good. And then him just understanding what he wants in his career. This game isn't just given to you. It's too hard, and so you have to really work at it. And I think he's learned that.
Who are the guys that mandate that? Is that Brendan? Is that Guerin? Are there other guys that mandate? Look, we need to be here at a certain time, working on our craft.
I don't think it's necessarily like something that's spoken. I think it's. I think it's funny. All the freshmen come in, and if practice is at 2:00, they'll usually roll in at like 1:30. They'll get their swings off the tee, and they're like, how come no one was hitting early? I'm like, well, all the older guys are done. Like they come in, there's guys here. If we have practice at 2, there's guys hitting at 11:30, 12. They all have their routine, and they're workers, man, and it makes my job a little bit easier.
We were remarking that it looked like the 2 home runs that Mason White hit the other night were balls that were out of the strike zone.
Yep, they were.
What does that say about just his ability and the way he's seeing things? And I know we talked to Chip a couple of weeks ago, and he said one of the things you're working on with him is to try to cut down the strikeouts and be more selective up there. Yeah,
really just trying to limit chase. He's one of the most talented guys I've ever coached. He's got, he's special. I've been fortunate. We've had some good players here. Your Chase Davises, Daniel Susaks, obviously Summerhill. Mason's in that group, and man, like if he's not the most talented, he's definitely up there. And I think part of that is like he knows he's really good, and so he's going to be aggressive, which you don't want to take that away from him, but just trying to get him to understand, like, your name's circled. Guys aren't just going to give in and throw you 2-0 fastballs. They're going to pitch to you differently. And so just being really, patiently aggressive. You got to be really aggressive in your spots. And he's definitely shown glimpses of that at times. But I think that's just something he's going to progress and get better at in his career.
A little bit of a slow start for Andrew Kane this year, much like what happened last year, his freshman year. What did you see early, and what allowed him maybe to kind of turn that corner and get in the groove to where he's, Chip was saying, we got to find a place to play him and get his bat in the lineup.
Yeah, he's just a hitter, man. He hit his freshman fall, he hit last year, and again, same thing. He started off slow. Found his way in the lineup a little bit and just got hot. And he's just a hitter. I think there's some guys you get that have a knack for finding the barrel. And we kind of joke with them, I'm like, don't be like Tony Bullard where you're going to hit, under 100 the first month and then you end up hitting 300 because you're good. But let's just hit over 300 the whole year. But no, he's got a knack for hitting, man. He hit well this fall. He hit well in January. I think it's just one of those things that when you don't have a lot of at-bats, it feels worse than it probably is. But no, he's a bat we need in there for sure.
What were some of the conversations on the hitting side after last year about the disappointment of losing in the first round, in the first phase of the NCAA tournament, and what guys wanted to try to do to make sure that this team can play deeper into May and June?
Yeah, I think obviously having a lot of guys back, just kind of knowing what that natural progression is going to be. But I think our expectations last year were so much different because there really weren't any last year. I don't think it was. We were returning 3 starters. I think Tommy, Guerin, Mason of that core group from the 23 team who, we lost 70 home runs and 4 guys that hit over 340. And so I think last year there wasn't really many expectations. And as we obviously progressed in the season, we leaned on our starting pitching a lot and timely hitting. And we felt like this year we'd be able to take that step of okay, we can win in multiple ways. We can win slugfest when, we can play a little more small ball. We can be more dynamic. We're a little more athletic. So it was really just how do we keep progressing, right? How do we get better from your freshman year to your sophomore year? How do we get better from your sophomore year to your junior year? And guys are pretty good with their process and. It's been fun watching these guys.
All right, Toby, Oklahoma State here this weekend and Grand Canyon on Tuesday to wrap up the homestand. Continued success. Looking forward to this race down the stretch of the Big 12 Conference.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Toby DeMello, hitting coach for your Arizona Wildcats. Wildcats and Oklahoma State coming up a little bit after 6 o'clock here tonight, game 1 of a 3-game series. Cricket is getting you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather. Awesome.